One of the interesting things to look at in Jesuit history is sort of topography, location. When Ignatius and the companions came to Rome, they were able to secure the church of the Madonna della Strada, which was a little unrepaired chapel, but its location was very close to the Palazzo Venezia, which was the papal palace of Paul III, and a place where he lived most of the year. So the Jesuits were very interested from the start to have a location as close to the Pope as possible. And this was a consistent thing because there was a real desire to be available to and accountable to the papacy from the very beginning. And this continues, we see it in the location of various Jesuit things in Rome, Jesuit communities. The Madonna della Strada chapel, which was very small, was eventually torn down to build what is presently the Jesuit church, which is considered sort of the mother church of the Society of Jesus. And it also marks in some ways the beginning of the Baroque or Jesuit style. Like the Jesuit involvement in theater arts, performance arts, music, the Jesuit involvement in Baroque art and architecture was also designed with a religious purpose. The design was to propagate the faith, to communicate the ideals of the spiritual exercises in a very plastic way, in an artistic way. So if you go to the Jesuit or later the San Ignazio, you see within the architecture portrayals of different aspects of the spiritual exercises. One of the interesting elements in Baroque style is how the eye is drawn upwards. So the idea that created things, the lower levels of the church, lead you up towards heaven, and then the heavens are opened up in glory. That's all an expression of the spiritual exercises. So that's very important. The attention of the Baroque architecture to good acoustics, a science that wasn't invented yet, but was of concern because the Jesuits were preaching. The Jesuits were using music and the church, and they wanted to be able to create a very good space for being heard. So there was a lot of very practical reasons for Baroque architecture. The use of side aisles that are much wider than the earlier architectural style to allow for confessions to be heard while preaching is going on in the main body of the church, while Mass may be celebrated in another part of the church, creates out of the Baroque church a sort of multi-purpose kind of building. At the Church of the Jesuit, there are several chapels that are not very accessible that were designed to be meeting rooms for sodalities, the lay confraternities that were run by the Jesuits out of the colleges in order to continue the fifth week, the continuation of the spiritual exercises. So all of these elements that are sort of incorporated into the architecture of the church are also designed with a specific purpose that extends out from the spiritual exercises. So one other element of Baroque architecture, not only with the churches, but also with the colleges, is that the Jesuits sort of appropriated that architecture, created it, and it became the Jesuit style, so that you can find Jesuit Baroque churches around the world in the same style, whether it's Paraguay, Macau, Rome. The Jesuit colleges have the same basic design as the Roman college, the college in Naples, the college in Goa, the college in Messina. So there was, again, a sense of what kind of architecture works for what we're trying to do, and then a propagation of that in all of the missions.